Pastor Concert Vids 34. Amen. And we are going to say the Dave Matthews Band prayer. So repeat after me. Mother, Father, who art in heaven, hallowed thy name. Kruger's kingdom come, thy deed is done on earth in the form of number 27, live from Piedmont Park, amen. Don't burn the day so we can have our daily cornbread. And forgive us for our poster flips for profit, as we forgive those who have charged us over face value for the gourd sparing. And lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil thunderstorms that delay sets, amen. For thine is the king of the castle, and you are the dirty rascal. Crash into me forever and ever. Amen. And now we must present the sacraments of the live DMB album. You see, when Jesus was gathered with his disciples, amen, he told everybody to quiet down for a moment. And he lifted up the Dave Matthews Band live at Red Rocks album. And he said, behold, the live album that will take away the sins of the world. And he raised it for everybody to see. Then he opened up the album and he took disc 1. He said, this is disc 1. Play this first disc in remembrance of me. So they played the first disc, starting with Seek Up. He then flipped back to reveal there was a second disc, amen. And he lifted up disc 1. He said, this is disc 2. Start with Tripping Billy's, amen. And they played through from Billy's to the Watchtower cover, amen. The disciples listened to Red Rocks 95. And then Jesus would die. But 3 days later, after the Gorge weekend, Jesus rose from the dead. And that is the story of Jesus in the communion of listening to Red Rocks 95. Amen. It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Definitely like, definitely comment, amen. Definitely subscribe to your boy's channel if you're feeling the spirit of DMB. If the Kruger's King is all up in you, and you want to catch more content. That's all I got for today. Peace and amen. Welcome to New York, Dave. And band. JTR in the Rain. Monsters added on first ever Crush to close out a full band show. The DMB post-show stream starts right about now. It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria. And just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998. And if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. What up, Queens? Corona, what up? Jamaica, what up? Flushing, what up? Forest Hills, what up? Queensbridge, what up? South Bronx, what up? Staten Island, what up? It's your boy Conserviz 34. The full band is in NYC. Shout out to Yonkers, right? Shout out to what else? Mount Vernon, money earning Mount Vernon, what up? What else? Who else? Where y'all from? Rep your tri-state area city, Fairfield, Connecticut. I know some of y'all came down for this show. Washington Heights, what up? Harlem, what up? Harlem, the flyest borough. Well, not the flyest borough, it's in Manhattan. Bruh. But the flyest part of the tri-state. Hoboken, what up? Freehold, New Jersey, what up? Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Shout out to Troy Terrain, PKA Star. So, we had to me, this is where, I mean, obviously it wasn't just because they were in New York, but a lot of different factors made this a solid show, a little bit of a break from the norm. We're going to pull up that set list. If you went to the show and want to come on, let me know. I was supposed to get, we're trying to get our guy Michael Wheel on, but I think he's having some issues as far as he's got to take some trains back. May not be the best connection. If you are leaving the show and watching this, or you know somebody leaving the show, let me know. Love SiriusXM Radio. They had yet another broadcast of this. 2 SiriusXM streams in a week. One's for Dave solo, and the second one for the full band at the former home of the U.S. Open, right? Forest Hill Stadium, and then they built the complex north of this area up in Corona, Flushing portion of Queens. Hey, shout out to everyone on Queens Boulevard, everyone in was it Brooklyn, right? On Flatbush, everyone on Flatbush Ave in Brooklyn, what up? Linden Boulevard, what up? RIP Fife Dog. Q-Tip, what up? So let's take a look first before we get to this. Matt Norlander had the real set list. And what we learned from this show is JTR is not on there, Monsters is not on there, and it looks like Seek Up was crossed off at the top. This is the original set list. Shout out to Matt Norlander. Watch Records and Riffs. If you have not seen that podcast, just search Record and Riffs podcast. Matt has had some great Dave themed shows. Spoke with the great Steve Lillywhite. Listen, respect to all the other producers. Steve did it the best with this band. Steve Lillywhite is the GOAT of getting Dave to get the best out of Dave. Right. Dave was gonna quit this band and be solo after Crash, but Lillywhite said, "Yo, you gotta stop. No. You stop the cap, right?
Stop the cap.
You need to continue with this band, right?" The Lillywhite sessions to me is some of the best music the band produced, some of the rawest music the band produced. And also, he had an interview with the sound engineer from the Busted Sub Sessions who used to be working with Steve. Yeah, so Monsters was not there, right? They added Monsters at the E1. They added JTR. But when you see this set, what really stands out to me is the fact that the crowd was chanting JTR, right? And the band knew obviously it was raining, and they decided to play JTR in between Walk Around the Moon and You and Me, right? And going back to this set, right? This is an easy little flow for Dave to just stay on his acoustic guitar from, I mean, this is a Friday where you got to play the next day. Who got the set list? That's Matt Norlander on Twitter right there. Matt Norlander, follow him on Twitter. He is a must follow. He has great college basketball news. That's his main job, but he has a high knowledge in music, especially D&B and Guster, amongst other music. And Records and Riffs podcast. So, right, Dave could have kept his acoustic standard tuning guitar from Walk Around the Moon to the end of the set. He could have just kept that acoustic guitar, said, "Hey, I got Hartford tomorrow. I'm not going to take any risks." He heard the crowd chanting JTR. What's his at? It's right here. Let me pull this up here. At Matt Norlander. Guys, like I said, follow him. He's got the Before These Crowded Streets. Post little the album cover as his little profile picture, right? So shout out to that.
She belongs to the streets.
Shout out to Before These Crowded Streets. We free the vinyl. So that's Matt Norlander. Anyway, what I was saying is Dave could have easily just kept that standard tuning guitar, played out the rest of the set, right? Nope, he grabs that 12 string after Walk Around the Moon and they go to JTR, right? Love to see that. And I mean, One Sweet World has been, that's something a lot of people spotted that today, right? So they start off with that. They continue with When the World Ends, but Busted Stuff and JTR in the same show. That's an awesome thing. I gotta say too, this band, you've seen in years past, I've complained about the fact that the sound, like Tim's too loud, right? Sometimes it sticks out. Rashawn's trumpet is too turned up. I need more Jeff Coffin, but we got a show where Jeff Coffin got to flex, busted stuff, tore that up with the soprano sax, right? Even what was that? Looking for a Vein. You get some Jeff in there in the middle of that. Madman's Eyes, you get Jeff, right? I still want Jeff to play 41, but hey, listen, this is a show where hey, I won't complain about that today. But you get a lot of Jeff Coffin, Buddy Strong coming in with the Rhodes and the traditional piano and some other stuff too, right? This band sounds great as far as listening to the band, no matter what they're playing. Even when the world ends, like I made a post, I was like, oh man, at least not they're not gonna play it for Hartford now. Great. But with that said, it sounded good. It sounded very good. And it's a rainy, cloudy day. You're in a former tennis stadium, and it just it they sound great. They sound great, and I look forward to hearing them tomorrow live for the first time this year. Was it Rich Illini says what? 2 songs and a unique encore. The rest of the show was kind of blah. I mean, it's an album tour year, but to have One Sweet World, right? To have some of the newer songs be in there, and really, that's really what D&B shows are about now. Give us 2 deep cuts like JTR and Busted stuff each night, and that's good, right? I talked about the anniversary yesterday of the 6/8 show in Hartford 2013 and the 6/7 show in Hartford 2013. There's a video on that. They're not those type of sets. They're not gonna, most likely won't come back, and if they do, they're one-offs. But if you're going to a show in 2023, this is a best case scenario, either near best case scenario or best case scenario, right? The Kill the Preacher seemed a little bit extended. I don't know what the timing is on that. Right. But this is you go, listen, you walk out with Busted Stuff and JTR. That's a win for this tour. Right. And again, the band sounds great. And then you say, right, the encore. The second thing is that encore, right? Monsters, Granny, Crush. That's a great encore to have 22 songs. I know they didn't really have as many longer songs for this. Right. But to have a 3-song encore, they have a hard curfew at 10. That's why they started around 7:12, 7:15. This was a great show for the circumstances. And really that moment is, listen, if you go to a DMB show, it's going to be that JTR and Busted Stuff, which both sound, great. Obviously JTR was, they had to shake off some rust on that, but listen, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't think about stuff like that when they play a JTR. They play a Last Stop. This tour is great compared to the last few years where we had Can't Stop and She and Slush. Yes, that's the other thing. Let's keep it up. That is the other thing about this show. Yes, there were, like last year, you had Dreaming Tree, Shotgun, some other stuff. But when what you don't have, what is not played is equally as important. And fellas, listen, yeah, I know we want beach ball. We want this. Listen, this is 2023 DMB. They're not going to play everything that we hope and dream for as deep cut lovers, right? You got to take what you can get, or go see another band. That's what it is. And listen, this is their first East Coast real show for the full band this year. But what is important, and fellas, we talk about Zion Williamson, right? And he going through it. And listen, as much as they want to criticize Zion Williamson, we've had other basketball players go through much worse. Magic Johnson, Karl Malone, Wilt Chamberlain. Listen, they had some stuff going on. Okay, Zion is light compared to that. But I tell a young fella like Zion, right? It's as equally as important what she doesn't do than what she does. And that's why Zion's in a bind right now, because he's messing with the wrong women. What they don't do is as equally as important. And that's men, women, whatever, whoever you're dating. What they don't do, if they're not on, if they don't have an Instagram, that's good. Man or woman. Like if they, because if they do and they looking crazy on it, that's not a good look for you. Same thing with this set. When there's no can't stop, when there's no sledgehammer, when there's no she, even do you remember? Right? What's not played is as equally as important as what is played. And as I said, the last couple of shows, don't, like, this is not the tour to take 15 shows in a row, right? Even if you have them, like, don't do it. Soak in some shows in May, some shows in June, take a break, go late July, maybe go to the Gorge and call it a year. But each tour stop, if you only go on to one show, you're going to get the new album, and hopefully you get stuff like JTR and Busta stuff. Right? But what isn't played is equal. I'm so glad Can't Stop isn't played. It needs a break. Right? Even Samurai Cop, even though Samurai Cop's not that play, these Come Tomorrow songs, we heard them, fam. And I think Dave understands. That's what I like about this. He's giving us a little bit. He's giving a little bit of everything. Yes, Richard, I'm going to SPAC, not going to Darien Lake, though. I'll be at SPAC both nights. But that's what this, like, that's what I like about this. The covers were not getting beat. Even, and listen, I know there's no Fool in the Rain, and I know people want You Can Call Me Out. I want to go to see Dave Matthews play Dave Matthews Band songs. I don't go, like, and I know that You Can Call Me Out, people want to hear that. And if it's played, it's gonna shut down. They'll probably do something like that. They'll probably have a You Can Call Me Out. What, just like Alpine got Fool in the Rain, they'll probably premiere that sometime in early July. Maybe it happens in Chirac instead of Alpine, right? Or even maybe it happens a little after Chicago, or maybe it's Deer Creek they do it. They'll probably premiere a new cover. I know Brick House has been new, but this is an album tour, and we haven't had an album come out. Now, Come Tomorrow came out in June, but we haven't had an album come out in May as the tour is starting. Right. Oh, Carrie says You Can Call Me Out. It's too much for him to sing. Gotcha. Okay. So maybe he will still do it as a one-off somewhere and then call it a day. But listen, I don't want Dave hurting his voice over a cover. Like, go watch listen, it was on TV. Go DVR it. They played it like a couple weeks ago. But I love that they're rotating out some of the Come Tomorrow stuff. There's something for everyone here. You got You and Me's, you got JTRs, you got the new stuff, you got some Big Whiskey with Why I Am. One Sweet World is an opener many people love. The granny at that. Let's look at the encore. The Monsters, to add that is a great representation of how this new band still has some new material that just rocks. Monsters is amazing, right? And then you have Granny, and then you have Crush to close out first full band. I believe there was, and I was trying to calculate stuff, and I was using a couple of different things to try to find it and manually search, and I couldn't fully find something. But essentially, Crush, this is the first time the full band. I think there was a Dave solo show where it was played. I think it was played. There's a Dave solo show somewhere. Let's see if we can highlight that. Think it is it right here? Yeah, so this is like, this is for New York World Police and Fire Games. Oh, this was unannounced. Oh, opening ceremony, yeah. So he came back as an encore, right? This is the only other time. This is actually in Brooklyn, right? Not too far from where this is in Queens, right? Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out Brooklyn. Even though you're gentrified, we still love you. So yeah, this is a kind of a one-off 2011, and also Dave was like, what, he was doing Caravan stuff. Oh, this was the same day as the Governor's Island caravan. Okay, so you had to get moving. Okay, there's I'm looking at for these crowd shoes. Let's bring this back. Let's take this out. All right, let me check on, see if we have anyone. Looks like, let me try to see if we'll get Zach a link. Taper Zach was there to our friend, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna get him a link. I don't know if he'll be able to get on in time. But if you don't have SiriusXM, full disclosure, I'm not being paid to say this. Get it. I know there's some people that are a little bit cheap, like, oh, I don't want to get the, bro. It's like I pay for $6. I think it's like $6 or $7. I have SiriusXM in my car and on my phone / laptop. The mobile app, I can do it on my laptop, my phone. You can do an iPad, and I can log into whatever device I want. I have it where I have a single use, so I only can log into one at a time. But I can play it in my car anytime and have it on my phone at the same time, which is awesome. So when if I rent a car and let's say one time I rented a car and the SiriusXM trial was like for a couple, like 2 or 3 days, and it turned off. Right, I had it on my phone. I was in the car with people to Mansfield. I was able to Bluetooth my phone in, and we got to listen back to the pig where Dave kind of messed up, but we still loved it because that Dave was being Dave. But SiriusXM, get the app, but being able to listen to this show is great. Now, I want to take you guys through a couple other things here. First, we're going to look at the poster, and then we'll get to kind of what was going down. We'll take a look at what was going down for the pit process here. All right, so this is the poster for tonight. Now, I love this poster for the fact that, sure, some people are like, oh, they should have did a tennis thing. It would, if the tennis thing was done right, perhaps. But now maybe you have that for another one. Maybe next time South Carolina, you do a tennis type theme, right? I love the saxophone and the bird being the focal points of this. And I think what would be great for the band, because they have a lot of times where they have to fill in spots, even for these weekend shows, they have a lot of ideas that have already been done. But I love the idea of having a collection contest. So they had one of these years ago, right? Where you had every instrument and you had to kind of collect them all. And I know the Roy one that was Berkeley, like that poster is still one of the most coveted posters from that era. But I would love to see a series. It could be different artists too, or maybe, oops, on my phone, I said Siri, and my phone just lit up. Oh my God. Feds are watching. Big Brother is watching.
Bruh.
I said Siri, my phone lit up. I was like, what? Anyway, I love this poster because you have the sax, you have the bird, the bluebird, and you have some beautiful flowers. They could do a series like this and have a saxophone, have a piano, have a bass, have a guitar, and it could have been it could have been methane too. I love what Ken Teller did with this, right? And he's been known to have birds in his art. But they could, all these methanes that they're trying to get out in various things, if you made a collector's thing, like they have the collector's cards, I think it would be something that would, again, not only sell posters for the band, but be something that would motivate people to be, oh, okay, let me go to more shows, right? So you have a saxophone, a guitar, et cetera, et cetera. And we've seen acoustic guitars and electric guitars, and we've seen them here and there. But this just reminded me of that Roy Flower poster from Berkeley. And let me see if let me give me a moment. I'm just trying to see if we have anyone. Yeah, so Michael's in transit. But yeah, this poster, I like it. And it's another great poster. There's been some great overall. The posters have been great this year. There's some that I'm not too keen on, like the Wilmington Night One poster, but and that was a Noom, and then also the Methane Monster. Okay, but outside of that, it was there's been some really good posters, and maybe not something that's considered a grail. Charleston did well. Slater, like Charleston, the AP editions from the artists, like they sold out like in a blink of an eye. And the Slater was good. The Mumford, I think, in listen, this is just a point of constructive criticism because I really have nothing bad to say about Mumford. The Mumford poster, I think one of the big things was the foil did not have that. I think it's like, is it called the Reunion? What's the big thing in Dallas? Is that the Reunion Tower in Dallas? It didn't have that little tower with the ball on top. So I think with the British pound, but even so, like still Mumford did well, right? I believe that sold out, and the APs it definitely sold some APs. So shout out to Dan Mumford at Dan Mumford Draws. But there's been some good posters this year. I'm interested to see what happens with Hartford. So we'll see what happens with Hartford. I'm excited to be out there. Let's take a look. What I want to do is kind of walk through some things here with the pit process. So let's go ahead. Let's start off here.
It's your boy Conserviz 34.
Video. And then I want to break down because I want to thank some of the people, and a lot of this was people, they just gave me messages and photos anonymously. I know who they are, but they gave me stuff at the show and they gave me information because this whole pit process is what everyone wants to know. They want to know what's going on. But like, because people have a show tomorrow in Hartford. People were going to Forest Hills, and they just announced this as Dave was, on Howard. So let's take a listen here. This is from earlier today. We'll look at these in order.
Fresh from a question and answer and response on the warehouse boards. QR codes have been handed out for Forest Hills, and the warehouse responded to someone who had a question. Hey, I am the ticket holder for the warehouse. I got number, let's just say it's number 10, but the person that I gave that second ticket to entered their name in on the QR codes. They got number 3. Can I go with my buddy at number 3? I gave him my second ticket. And the answer is yes. If there are 2 tickets in an order and one of those QR codes given out is the lower number, both parties can stand side by side, just with 2 max, obviously, for the pit. This is a pit only process. But just to give you that answer, that's what is going on. So now, even if you are number 10, right, you may not be the 10th person to go in if people pair up, right? Some people request singles, some people request 2.
All right, so that was the first part of this. This was earlier in the day. Warehouse was saying, hey, listen, each person, so like I said, if your boy Conserviz 34 has a ticket, this was actually a ticket from my church. They had a concert the other day. And so let's say that, all right, I got 2 of these pit tickets. And so it's me and Mrs. Conserviz. We got tickets, pit tickets. So I put one request in for me, one request for her, same email address, right? Your boy at conserviz34.com. So let's just say it's numerically the 1 through 75. First 75 people that are selected, or 75 people are selected for this early process. And let's just say I get 74 and Mrs. Concert Viz gets 7. The idea is, okay, I can go under Mrs. Concert Viz QR code for 7 and we can stand side by side, only maximum 2 for any QR code. And we'll forget the 74. I'm going to use the 7 because we want to get close to the rail. That was the assumption. I saw an email screenshot. I didn't want to share it because that was like, it was, where I found it was not a public chat or forum or dialogue. But there was an email from the warehouse saying, yes, you can choose the higher number that's pulled, higher QR code number, and then boom, you guys are side by side, maximum 2 people side by side. Now, my thought was, and I still don't know this, I don't want to go into what, but essentially you could watch it on Twitter. My guess is they're trying to look at the names and really look by name to say, okay, this name is coming up a lot. All right, maybe we're going to pull back, or this name, I don't know, but forget that. That's not as important. That's what I kind of said right here, the warehouse request. Now, this is the first report I got from people in line. So this is from the DMB show. So 4:30. So keep in mind as well, this show, the doors opened at 7. They came on stage before 7:30. It was like 7:12 to 7:15. Oh, wait, I got it right here. Someone sent it to me. They got on stage at 7:11 p.m. local time, Eastern time. They got off stage at 9:53. So the band's probably going to get on around 7:50, 7:45, 7:50 tomorrow, right? So it's about 30 minutes early. Everything was 30 minutes earlier today. But at 4:30, so let's just say at around 5, it could be earlier because Hartford's really set up because it's, people tailgate right there. You couldn't tailgate to this show. There's no lots or anything like that. But 4:30 p.m., metal detectors started to go up, and there was one large warehouse line. Staff at the gate at that time didn't go over anything about the QR code process. Staff was currently verifying people had warehouse tickets in the line. This is at 4:30. Okay. So next up, the warehouse pit fans received QR codes. The warehouse pit fans who had QR codes, this is closer to 5. They told people, hey, make your own line to the side. After that, they were going to check the numbers to make sure that everyone was in order. Warehouse fans of any kind, GA or regular, would all be let in after the QR code folks got in and got to kind of settle down into wherever they wanted to spot themselves. After warehouse, GA or regular, so that means you could have uppers, the worst seat in the house from the warehouse, or the pit seat. After all those fans who were there for early entry were able to get in, everyone else, late warehouse arrivees, GA pit, regular fans who bought AXS tickets. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. This is a venue that never had hosted DMB, and this is AXS tickets. When you have Live Nation venues, sometimes there's overlap in these venues. People cover multiple venues. So even if this was a Ticketmaster venue, you could have had someone from Madison Square Garden or Jones Beach working this show because they work for Ticketmaster. They do security, they do staffing, they do other stuff, guest services, etc. This is an AXS show, and there's not other AXS venues DMB does. So maybe that's why there was a little bit of a lack of knowledge. Also, the first day that they're doing this new process. So after that, so they had to police themselves, but then people started to check. These are some pictures from the line. This is the regular entry line, and to the side is to the right of this screen, I believe, is where the warehouse setup queue line is. You see the different separation of the metal barriers there, right? Now, this was a big situation here because initially fans were there was a QR debacle. Okay. Fans were told in the emails, and some fans had been to Mexico that were at this show. In Mexico, a QR code gave you for one, and you got a +1. So they thought, hey, if I have 2 pit tickets, we can choose the higher QR code and just the other ticket will be my +1. Now Mexico is all GA, so it's a little different. But fans were being told, like I told you via email, that hey, 2 pit tickets for 1 QR spot. Staff was saying 1 QR spot for 1 person a piece. So there were husbands and wives, friends, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, whatever your pair was, they were split up in the line of early entry. And this was devastating for the fans that were there. Like, what are you talking? Like, how are you going to do this? Like, can you at least check with someone from DMB? Someone came out with a list. Now, here's where the sources and things I don't know as clearly, because people I was getting information from were not in the actual QR code line. They were warehouse ticket holders. So where it gets a little bit hazy is there was a list of, someone got a list from the warehouse, whoever the liaison was, of who exactly was who submitted what from the warehouse QR code, request period, which by the way is 48 hours prior to the show. You get an email if you have a warehouse pit ticket to submit yourself for this process. You're not guaranteed early entry if you submit. And I think part of that is like they want to try to see if they see a name in rotation, take them out of it, allow other names to get up there if they're newer. And by newer, I mean they haven't been to any shows and requested this. Now, you could be a day one fan from 91 and your first show is in Hartford. And they see that and they say, okay, we're going to let them be in the lottery or be selected, better odds. So they found a list of okay, these are the people who put the request in. These are the emails that match. Okay, we'll let you go 2 for 1. That's what I believe happened. But again, from there, I don't have any sources. If you were in the warehouse pit line, please comment below. Let us know. Same thing with Hartford. When I do the Hartford post show stream tomorrow, please let us know. It'll help to spread the word. Or put it in a warehouse form, put it in another form, because that information can be spread out. As this will help a lot. I know some people are saying they're going to Deer Creek, they're going to Hartford. There's a lot of anxiety, as there should be, for this to be done mid-year, right? For this to be done mid-year. Let me just see. Anyone else? I'm trying to see in the chat if anyone else was at the show in the chat. The Nuggets won? The Nuggets won? Was that? Oh, wow. They're up 3-1. My Heat don't really stand a chance. Connor said he's putting for Deer Creek, so I'd love the help. Okay. And the Deer Creek pit is usually oversold from what I've been told from fans there. That typically, and I know Connor, you talked about that last time we talked to you, right, about the show. And I think I talked to you when you were re-entering the pit. Yeah, we met up at the show. That was the first time we had met up. And shout out to Mile High Dad from, in the Denver Metro, right? Nuggets are 1 win away from winning the NBA Finals, being world champions for basketball. So we'll see what happens. The biggest thing with venues, and I've been blessed to know, I grew up with a couple people in the Hartford area that worked for the Civic Center and the Xfinity Theater, which is the Meadows. So I kind of know, and what I do know is that sometimes the information from band to the local workers and orchestrating that can be difficult for these DMV type events, because a lot of, some shows there's a fan club, some shows there's not. And what it's really going to come down to for this pit situation, there needs to be there needs to really be a consistent message to the staff. And they have that morning meeting. Usually a manager or supervisor has a meeting, and they have a liaison from the warehouse. They have someone that represents the management from the band, security for both the venue and the artists will be in that meeting as well. And they kind of say, hey, this is what we need to do. This is for crowd. This is load in, load out, sound check, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And oh no, you lost 2 posters. We got our guy Michael Wheel. Check out his channel, New Jersey Dispensary Review channel, reviewing dispensaries around Jersey. And Connor, did you know? Yeah. So here's the thing. Yeah, DMB Hub called it JTR. They could have been trolling, and sometimes they just get it wrong. I go with the almanac, and listen, everyone can get stuff wrong. No one's perfect, right? But yeah, they put John the so in theory, JTR is the final product of what used to be called John the Revelator, right? You could argue about lyrics, all that other stuff, and really, essentially, we got JTR. You can call it John, whatever you want to call it. It was great. Okay, it was back. There's some compositional differences and lyrical differences, but it was JTR. Anyway, but the important thing is going to be the warehouse system. Initially, it wouldn't allow you to list a different name. So you could have an email entered in for you if you Conserviz 34. But if I put Mrs. Conserviz 34 and tried to submit my email, it wasn't letting it through. I think that's been fixed from what I heard. But they really need to have directions to say, listen, you list your name for one. Some people list their name twice, right? So they put their name for both of them, thinking that's what they had to do, because you had to put the ticket owner twice. But what you're supposed to do is put your name if you're the owner, and then put someone else's name. Right. And this is just for the early entry process. If you sold someone a pit ticket, they can still enter. Now, if they can enter this lottery is going to be another question. In theory, they said no resale tickets can be used for the QR process. I don't know. And again, if anyone flipped a ticket for face value to another fan or traded for a ticket and they were able to get in today, or if they get in tomorrow, please comment so we can know that. Again, this information matters, but the process can vary from show to show. I remember last year in Hartford, they let everyone in from the lottery, and they did the lottery indoors. It was crazy. But then, like most shows, they do the lottery outside, and then they line you up outside and they walk you in the venue. But what was crazy is you have all these people in this larger venue, and you're telling them to line up. Anyone could have just ran in front, or obviously they'd be pulled by security. But the more space there was, you had like 70 plus people in the venue, where if you do it outside, all right, let's line them up. One, you go first, and then you get them all on that railing. But the fact it was like in an open space, you're trying to line everyone up, and then I heard the number. I was so far away from where they called the number, but I was like in the first 10, I think. So every venue can be different. Mohegan in 2021, when I was in the pit, they weren't letting people camp out early, because they didn't have the lottery process for that show. And I think for 2021, they didn't do it. I think 2022 is when they decided to bring it back. I can't remember. But like Mohegan is not a traditional venue for the band, and it's so far from Hartford. You probably don't have a lot of people people that work in Southern Connecticut for Ticketmaster is different than Central Connecticut and Hartford. And they had been there in 2018 and 2012, but that's not as frequent. After the pandemic, a lot of the staff could have been changed over or let go, and this is new staff working the show in 2021. So that's where, again, I really hope they can do that. Now, the other thing with the pit, and I talked about it the other day, I think the hardest thing is I don't like it's going to be hard to regulate what happens after everyone line is in the actual pit. I said, hey, have some people from the warehouse in the middle of the pit. That may be a tough thing to do, and it may not be worth it, right? You got to look at the risk and reward. You got to do a analysis of that, and they probably just said, hey, listen, things are going to happen as long as something's not crazy. We won't kick a fan out. And they got security. I mean, the Live Nation security does look, but obviously, when you're looking at a crowd of people standing, you can't see the middle all the time from when you're standing at the bottom of the stage, right in front of the stage. So we'll see what happens with that. That's the hardest thing. Are they going to police? Are they trying to take data down to see? How are they trying to stop? It's hard to try to stop. I mean, a lot of this stuff is without letting the fans just enjoy the music. It's hard to regulate the pit. And if they go to seats again, all the seats are going to turn into is like John Mayer. Like the seats for John Mayer in the front are like extremely expensive. That's what makes the pit such a great thing for DMB is that you can go through the fan club, and yes, some people have never gotten pit, but there's an opportunity for you to get pit. There's an opportunity. The last 13 years, is year 13, started in 2010. There's an opportunity for you to get in the pit. And if you do, it's a face value ticket at the front. Like to get that early entry process, you're paying for a face value ticket. And that's where I credit the warehouse, because that's not a guarantee for other artists. And like Taylor Swift, I believe she doesn't even have a pit for this tour. Granted, that could also be another, I don't know. But you have seats, you have actual seats. So you go to a DMB show, you pay the highest face value price, and you don't even have certain fees for the warehouse tickets, and you are the best odds to get on the rail. That's great, because the alternative is for John Mayer to be front row or second row, and after the first two rows of a flat floor and having seats, I mean, it's not the same as the pit. So for John Mayer, those seats are, I mean, listen, the first 15 to 20 rows, no, I said the first 10 rows of a John Mayer show can be incredibly expensive. The John Mayer solo show was more expensive than his tour in 2022 when he had the full band. So the fact that the band does say, hey, you're a fan club member, if you get a warehouse ticket, you have an opportunity to be at the front. And then also, even if you don't get early the QR code process, you still get to go on before the GA tickets. So these GA tickets, you could, maybe people scalp them for sure over face, but you're not guaranteed to be at the front. And matter of fact, when you walk into the venue with the GA ticket, there's already 50 to 60 people there, depending on the show. So we'll see what happens. Michael was at the show. He says it had a blast and the sound was pretty good. He was all the way at the top. I think he was streaming for Couch Tour. And shout out to Michael, because he actually does stream for Couch Tour. One of the biggest con jobs is people say they're streaming for Couch Tour to get to the front of the pit. And that's not cool, because there are people streaming. Bruh. When you have people like Michael who are actually streaming, usually Michael is in seats, right? But then someone's like, oh, I'm on Couch Tour. Like I said, I know I've been talking about the pit recently, but like, it's ridiculous. Some of the people are, this lady was like yelling like a baby because she was like, oh, it's my 200 show, whatever it was. And she was not one of the people that was able to get on the rail. She was like the second row. Like, you're still second row. but she was throwing a temperature like, I have to be at the no, you don't. Know the flip, you don't. Know the little flip, you don't.
Bruh.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like people throwing temper tantrums just to be like, I remember my first show in the pit. It was in 2015. Like just being at the back of the pit was amazing, right? Just to be in that area is a blessing, right? It was just, it's disappointing. And listen, I know there's a lot of there's overwhelming good in this fan base and in the pit, but there's just some people, yo, get a grip. Dave's married. He's not marrying you. And even if he was single, he's not gonna marry you, fam. Oops. Let's see. All right. He's not marrying you.
Nope.
Just take a couple steps back.
Nope.
Take a deep breath. Enjoy the music. Your personality's not like he likes to joke and have good conversation. You're not good at having conversation. He's not gonna talk. He doesn't care. Okay.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Get a grip, people. Oh, I guess Michael had the best qualities. So shout out to that. I know Michael, he messaged me that he had some challenges with the service, but back of the pit tomorrow night. Oh, he's gonna be chilling from the back of the pit. Okay. What else? Oh, you know what else happened? So the tickets weren't scanning. So I got a picture. Someone sent this to me. The tickets were not scanning. So they were ripping off the tickets like old school back in the day. I remember going to the Hartford Civic Center originally for Whalers games, and they ripping I believe they ripped the ticket off back then in the late 90s. I think they were ripping off. But yeah, they had to rip off for some of these. And sometimes those issues happen regardless. But I think again, just to give context to this is an AXS venue. That's Alpha X-Ray Sierra AXS. And they have ticketing out there in Colorado. They have the for is it Red Rocks? I think AXS has Red Rocks, and I want to say Fiddlers too. The amphitheater in Huntsville. What is that? The Orion? Is it the Orion Amphitheater? That's AXS. You got some venues out in Cali, but they're just another ticketing. And to me, I mean, people give a lot. They say a lot about Ticketmaster. AXS has a lot more issues to me, and their fees and their resale market is more ridiculous than Ticketmaster. So Fiddlers is Orion Amphitheater. Because Connor went there. Connor went to both of those, right? Connor's been traveling around. But yeah, so they had the rip tickets off. This was the merch stand. This is the merch stand. This is where the people in the pit were scuffling. I was kidding. This is where they were throwing them bows.
Bruh.
But I seriously cannot. I think the other thing, I mentioned this before, but also that's Zach's picture. Shout out to Zach. He got the taper audio. They let him work above head level. Shout out to Forest Hill. Riverbend, Riverbend didn't let him rock like that. As far as what Henry was saying, nobody could be above head level. So Riverbend, that's why y'all didn't get Dave last year.
Bruh.
It was a hard time. What else? Yeah, so the JTR. Oh, let me pull this up. Let's not talk about Cancun, man. Talk about it offline. You're not. All right. So we got. Let me pull this up. Let me make sure I got this all set up. So we want to talk about JTR and Busta stuff in the same show because tonight we had both of these, and there's a little bit of a. This will lead us into Hartford. Okay. So we got this JTR and Busta stuff in the same show by Conserviz 34. All right. So these are all the times that JTR and Busta stuff have been in the same show. So you got Detroit, East Rutherford, New Jersey, Giant Stadium, Alpine, Blossom, Hershey, Meadows, GTE. What's also interesting, the 826, 827, that was a 3-night stand. They played Busta stuff all 3 nights. Talk about repeats. 3 times, but that's what was awesome about the 2000. The songs they were repeating: JTR, Busted Stuff, Bartender, right? Those songs were amazing songs. So please repeat them. I hope they repeat Busted Stuff tomorrow in Hartford. Continuing on, you got most of these are in 2000. You do have the Comcast Theater, which is just in the Meadows again. Comcast Theater, Comcast Center. That's Great Woods. And another Michigan one in Clarkston, Forest Hill Stadium. So the last Busted Stuff in JTR show before tonight was in 2010 in Clarkston. That was the last one. Now, another interesting thing here was between 2000 and 2010, there were no Busted Stuffs from 9/16/2000 until we got the 5/28/2010, that Hartford show. My buddy who got me into DMB was at that show, and they had Kit Kat Jen, a bunch of liberations. So Busted Stuff and JTR both made their way back from liberations for 5/28/2010. So you had a 10-year, a little bit, about a 10-year gap there, decade gap. They play it in Mansfield. They play it in Michigan, and it goes away as far as both of them being played in the same show. And then now tonight, 6/9/2023, the day before the Hartford show, it comes back. So just interesting there that after a hiatus of both of them being played in the same show, both of these were in the Northeast. No SPAC in this list. No SPAC as far as both of them being played in the same. I'm sure there's weekends where in 2000 they had to have played both of them for those SPAC shows in 2000. Meadows and Hartford has 3 shows with both of them. 2 of them in the 2000 3-night stand, and then 1 of them in 2010. I think that's awesome, and that's what's cool. I mentioned another stream as well. The fact that, think about some of the best shows the band has made: East Troy, Wisconsin, or Elkhorn, Wisconsin, Saratoga Springs, New York, Indianapolis, Indiana. I know that's a major city, but Indy is a smaller major city. It's not a large market compared to the big guns of American metropolitan areas. So and then Quincy, Washington, or George Washington, the Gorge at George, right? Some of the best shows have happened at some of these very, very small markets in the scale of our country. And none of the shows were in both the Mountain or Pacific time zones. I always say as well, JTR was played at the Gorge in 2006, has not been played in the Pacific time zone since then. While there's less shows in these time zones, it just goes to show you, man, when you come to these East Coast or Midwest shows, you get a lot of special things. The band is not me having these guys. The band has a bias. Now, you've had some, like last year was a great year for the South. The South will rise again. No, the South will rise again. I'll tell you, feller. Let me let me chill out with that. But the South. But yeah, so it's the Northeast, they come to the Northeast, they bring out JTR, they bring out Buster stuff. It didn't Buster stuff was not played in the Carolinas, and they got boxed out of Buster stuff.
Bruh.
And they had two night stands. They had 4 shows the first 2 night stands of the year, and they didn't play Buster stuff. So I mean, there's just stuff, there's vibes and stuff when Dave gets to the Midwest and the Northeast. He does some special things, and especially the Northeast. I mean, that's where the majority of the like there's so many fans within 2-3 hours of any given venue. Like it or not, that's how it is. So we'll see what it holds. I still think a lot of walk around the moon. If you got to pick the free space for tomorrow is picking Bismarck, right? You can just fill that in as a free space. Best to put it as an opener because they're probably going to open with Bismarck. But if they don't, they'll play Bismarck. Yeah, as you guys know, I'm worried about Bayou tomorrow, guys. I'm just I'm like, I looked at that set list. I'm like, I'm listening to them like, they're not playing Bayou. They're not playing. They're not playing. What? No Bayou. Oh no, they're gonna play Bayou in Hartford. They're gonna play Bayou in Hartford. But hey, listen, if they play some other stuff, I'll take a Bayou, man. Now, if they play Bayou and Can't Stop in the same show, that would be
Bruh.
that'd be pretty brutal. We're gonna debut Can't Stop in Hartford, man. That'd be a nightmare. But and don't forget to hit the like button, folks. Hit the like button, spread, share this stream. It'll be up for replay. Shout out to everyone watching the replay. But yeah, so we on the Hartford. We're on the Hartford. All of Stand Up. Carrie, hey, watch your language there. All of Stand Up is coming tomorrow. You said the whole.
Nope. No.
Got it loaded up in the chamber. Playing Stand Up. But you know what, though? Hey, here's the thing about Stand Up. If they play Stand Up front to back, American Baby Intro would come back. You'd have Hello Again, which actually I'm not. But I mean, hey, it's something different. Stolen Away, right? But just having American Baby Intro would be dope, right? Now, if they only play Bayou, Stand Up, and what's another Stand Up dud? Yeah, Come Tomorrow, right? We're gonna play Come Tomorrow, the title track, Come Tomorrow, into Bayou, into Stand Up. That'd be a nightmare. But I don't mind, like, there's some good tracks on Stand Up, as much as for live when you have it live. So, but Roy had to carry those. Like, listening back, it's like Leroy put the team on his back for some of those 05 shows. If Leroy Moore was not playing saxophone for some of those shows, woo, sheesh. But they've done a great job. You Might Die Trying is great. Old Dirt Hill, yeah, I've had that. It's great. Stolen Away, American Baby Intro, and American Baby, which is the highest charting single for the band. It's not that bad. It's not. I think at this point, right? I think in the 05, in the scope of 05, the fans went from these unreleased songs in 04, and then you get hit with Stand Up. That's where it's like a living torture. All those great 04 songs, Sugar Will and Joyride. We know Don Dingo, aka Hines, does not like that, but everyone else in the living world loves Joyride, right? But yeah, so that's let me just see. Oh, his phone died. Let's see what Zach said. Let's take a look. What did Zach say? Oh, Kermit the Prague. Okay, so let's look at Kermit the Prague. Takeaways from tonight's show: setlist was good overall. Encore was bonkers. Crowd energy was spectacular for the most part. Show sounded really good in the venue, like standout good, solid B. So thank you to Zach for sending that over to us via chat. We got some information from Michael as well. Um, so that was his. Let's see if he said anything else. Tape will be up tonight. So shout out to Zach. The tape will be up tonight. Listen, these tapers, I know people like this current generation of tapers, they are getting these tapes up quick. Now, maybe they have some more technology, but the work ethic of this current generation of tapers, some tapers have retired. Actually, a good amount of tapers have retired from the game, right? They have families, they have other obligations, but we've had a new wave of tapers take in. Zach, Mark, they both been on the show and both been on the show at the same time. I think we've had a roundtable with them. Love to have conversations with them, but yeah, it's great to see that these tapes are literally up ASAP. And I think also, Zach is in the New York. He lives in the New York, the tri-state area, right? So this is within his driving distance to get to a show versus having to fly out. Glad that he's able to get back here to the New York City Metro, much closer than some of the Mexico shows. Zach was at Mexico for Dave and Tim Mexico. He was at the 3 Mexico shows came on the stream. For the full band shows a little after that. Yeah, we'll be in Hartford. I'd love to meet people it's better in the venue. Just say I'm over here. Tailgate is really to be determined. If you're going to Mansfield and Hartford, it's better to meet me in Mansfield because tomorrow, some things are still up in the air, and then Mrs. Conserviz will be with me. So, Mansfield, if you're going to both, say what up to me in Mansfield, unless you see me or whatever. But Hartford, if you're only going to Hartford, I try to meet as many people as possible. And I always love the support of seeing some faces that I've seen from other parts of the country. We've been at the Gorge together, been wherever. But I will be out in the streets tomorrow, the crowded streets of Hartford. If you're going to Hartford as well, there is a Yard Goats game. That's the minor league baseball team. So the Yard Goats are about just under a mile away from the venue. That is good in the sense that they're closer to downtown. They're at the edge of downtown, where the Meadows is a mile away from the edge of, like, just about a mile away from the beginning of downtown. Not a big city as far as the downtown area. But that's good because, so if you park close to the venue, you'll be like, that part of that exit closer to the venue won't be as bad. I think people trying to come from points north and points east and west, if you're coming from the east or the west, you may get more. If you're coming from points south, if you're coming south of Hartford, you're probably going to get more traffic than coming north, because if you're coming if you're coming from the northern points of the country and driving south, the exit for the Xfinity Theater is much closer than the exit for where the Yard Goats are going to be playing. The auxiliary parking lot over the bridge, as many people say, that's used for the Yard Goats now. So that's really what it is. Now, another thing you can do, and I always recommend this, if you have a hotel in Hartford, walk it. The law enforcement, Hartford PD, are all along the path from downtown to the Meadows. It is very safe. Always keep your head on a swivel. I mean, that's the thing, is you're most in danger when you think you're safe. But if you're okay for a walk, parking downtown, now initially when you get to if you arrive, and if you park downtown, you need to arrive at least like an hour before doors or gates, if not longer. But if you park downtown, Morgan Street Garage is probably the best garage to do it from. There's some other garages out there. But if you are downtown, if you have a hotel, if you're in one of the hotels downtown, it's just best to walk or Uber it. But walking, it's doable. If you don't have good legs, if you're hurt, you want to take an Uber or try to find another way, or just have someone drive you to handicap parking. But if you are able to walk, it is easier to walk to leave the meadows and walk downtown, walk to downtown and drive in your car and you're right on the highway than it is to get out of the general lots. The GA lots are it's madness. The VIP lots have a little bit ease of business to get out of, but if you're going to Hartford, just be aware there is a game. Now there was a time I think we had Connecticut, a Yard Goats game, and a DMB show at the same time. So there's been worse traffic days in Hartford, but don't be surprised if you see a little bit more traffic. In theory, even if the Yard Goats game goes into extra innings, the MLB team or the minor league team for the Rockies, AA affiliate, even if that goes into extra innings, you're gonna have most people leave because there's a lot of kids who go to the Yard Goats because it's such an affordable. It's the best ballpark in AA baseball. It's won awards for that. Philly B, what up? My guy Philly B from college. We played hockey together in college, and we'll definitely meet up in Hartford. Yeah, we need deep tracks only before these Hartford streets. I cannot track. So yeah, like it's the best thing about Hartford though is there's so many ways to leave. And in the leaving the venue, like if you park downtown and you're more traffic, or you park by the baseball park, um, you'll have an easier way to get out because the further south you are from the venue, the easier it is to get out. If you're closer to the venue, that's where there's a long line of cars. But Hartford is great because there's multiple ways out. When you have a Mansfield, even a Deer Creek, which has more of a lawn presence now than Hartford does. Hartford used to have more of a lawn presence, but I think nowadays they don't sell out that lawn. Deer Creek has 2 nights of it. But even going to Deer Creek last year, Hartford has an ability for you to park in more places because it's just north of downtown. So you have an ability to walk through downtown. Deer Creek is out in the suburbs, Noblesville, Indiana. It's not in Indianapolis. So you can't have 5 different ways to leave. Like if you were in downtown Indy, people could go multiple ways out of that city. Or locals could take back roads and just avoid traffic. Hartford, you can avoid traffic. I would advise you to get onto Interstate 91 ASAP. Your GPS may take you through Hartford, but the north end of Hartford is rough. So if it by that I mean anything north of the actual venue, you can drive north for a mile or so and get on exit 33. But anything like exit 34 is not your boy Conserviz 34. Like to go that way, if it takes you that way, just be careful. And I would say get on exit 33, worst case 34. Don't go past exit 34 if you're leaving at night, I would say, because driving, sometimes it'll tell you to drive through the north end of Hartford, Albany Ave, like nah. What is it? Blue Hills Avenue through Hartford is a little bit like just saying, I'm just keeping 100. Like don't, if you're from out of town, you want to get on the highway immediately. Like any city, there's those spots you don't want to be in around at nighttime. So just be careful out there. Get on the highway ASAP. If you're driving south and you're going towards the downtown, those highway entrances to 84 and 91, you're good, right? But just be careful driving north. Sometimes that GPS will tell you to go through. Oh, to avoid traffic, go through Albany Avenue. Nah. You gotta be careful. Be careful, bro. No, drive through go through Blue Hills Avenue. Hotel is like if your hotel's in a suburb, it may say go through Blue Hills Avenue. Turn around, get on 91. Go even further south, get on 84. But exit 33, that's the furthest north you really want to be there. All right, so that's it. That is the show. What we're gonna do? Let's do this, and I'm gonna mute my other thing. We're gonna close out with this Howie Day version of 41. And I saw this. It came in because I shout out to all the DMB recorders. I really appreciate people. And if I'll say this too, I'm looking to put a full vid of Hartford. If people want to take full videos, like I'm not talking about the couch tour, no disrespect, shout out to Michael. But if people want to take videos of the middle of the show, like take a full show, like just pick one song in the middle of the show and take a video of it. I'm looking to make a full vid of the entire Hartford show. And sometimes that middle of the show, storage has issues and I have to taper audio it. And by taper audio, I mean I put my phone on record just in case there's no taper audio I have access to. And then what I can do is just put another video on there. Like if someone has video of a show of song number 12 or 13 or 14, I can just put that in video editing and combine it all together, right? And videos like that, that's all to the artist. Like I'm not making money off those full vids. So I want to try to get that together. It is awesome to have that ability, like the MSG Want to Have Night 2, like that was very popular to be able to see video of the full show. So say all that to say, please consider just a song or two, especially if you've seen a lot from this band, you've been to other shows. Record some of the middle of that show, put it up on YouTube. I just search for the 610 23 and I'll be able to find it. All right, we're gonna do this. This is a Howie Day, and this is from John Comey. And shout out to John Comey because I believe he had some. I thought he had some stuff from DMB. But I've seen John Comey. Oh, he had he recorded Dreaming Tree from that 6/8/2013 show. So shout out to John Comey. But he has he's got DMB in his thing right here. This is John Comey's channel. Right. Shout out to him. Give him some subscriptions. He has, look at that. He's got the Boy Tinsley era DMB, the post Roy era, like all over there. So how he did. All right, so let's get back. Where's that number 41? I just had it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Let me let this load up for a second, and we'll play it. But thank you guys for watching. Shout out to Andy Mendoza. He's got the full vid of Dallas and Houston up as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So what will happen is go to the show, get back to the crib, settle down. Then I'll have a post-show stream talking about my experience. I'm going to interview myself. It's like the DMB 2 sets, right? Like the DMB 2 set. I'm opening up for myself, right? Bruh. So I will be there. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Before this stream becomes longer than the actual DMB show, let me close out. Oh, this is also a half step down. So it may sound a little different. It's meaning they took the original key of 41, they brought it down a half step so it's not as high on the vocals. So a little bit of a different sound, but let's let Howie talk about this. And if you're in law enforcement, Connecticut State Police, please pull Bayou over as the band's trucks get through to Connecticut. Put it in jail for a day, let it come back in Bangor, Maine. You know, just if you see Bayou, say something, lock it up. I don't mind the jam. Let them play the jam. But I'll see some of you guys tomorrow in person. See some of you guys tomorrow on the stream. I'm going to my first show of the year. Well, I'm excited. All right, take care, guys. Don't forget, hit the like button, YouTube ConcertViz34, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment below. And after this is over, put some stuff in the comments. All right, peace.
Wow, thank you so much for this. It's been a very special night for me. I appreciate it. So, my first gig in Boston was just around the corner at the Hart, I think. Yeah. And in those days, I was doing a lot of covers. Well, when I was 15, I went and saw Dave Matthews play, and it kind of convinced me from that point forward that this was like what I wanted to do. And I think it was 7 years later, I got to share the stage and hang out and all that kind of thing. So, but it was quite a road. But I used to cover this one a lot, and I used to try to sneak in, you know, She Says and Morning After and so forth, like between covers that everyone, you know, got their attention. So, anyway, used to do this one a lot, and want to play it tonight. Come and see, I swear by now I'm playing time against my troubles. Oh, I'm coming slow, but speeding. Do you wish for a dance while I'm in the front? My playing time is one. Oh, but the difficulties coming. But it's coming too much more. Me, all at once the ghosts come back, reeling in you now. Oh, what if they came back, crushing in a way we used to play for all of the loneliness that nobody notices now. Oh, coming slow, I'm speeding.
all over